Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show.
Today is a session with Firecrest Easter Eve on roping, rating a mechanical cow simulator, in this case the electric bike, and then eventually hooking up our roping horns to it, having her rate it, that is, go with it, don't step over it, follow the speed, and give me, when I'm in the saddle, an opportunity to rope these roping horns on the back of a horse. Now, I practice roping every day from the ground, in the morning, in the evening. It's not quantity, it's quality I'm aiming for. And I know that if my horse doesn't put me right in the correct position for roping, which is off to the left with their head out of the way, I need to be able to have skill with my lariat and a desensitized horse, and have them desensitized so I can catch my horns anyway. But I'd really rather that they put themselves in the proper position for me. Then I can concentrate on my roping skill. Then I can concentrate on my balance. I can concentrate on what my left hand is doing, what my right hand is doing, what I'm inadvertently doing to my reins. If I'm having stress, there's so much more to roping on the back of a horse than there is from the ground, that we're going to be working on that in this Urban Weekend Cutter and Roping series. Now, Kyle, who's my cameraman, is going to take the electric bike up the driveway. Our driveway is sanded so that it is maybe a couple inches of sand, and we don't have to worry about hurting our horse's legs. And Katie is going to take Eve behind the bike. We're not roping, putting the roping horns on yet. They rattle too. You know, we have to desensitize her to that. But we just want to see one small step at a time today. Can she rate the electric bike? And then can we have confidence to hook up the roping machine? Will she rate it, even though it rattles? So I'm going to go to the camera now, and Kyle's going to go to the electric bike, put on a helmet, and go down the driveway. And as I see issues, I will discuss them. I'm the only person here at Shadrack Farms that has any roping experience. And I do rope my little mini cows from time to time. But if I go to a shoot roping or a ranch roping with full-size cows, I want to have at least one horse that will go with me and put me in position so that I have a chance to rope. I don't like to pull, but I do like to breakaway rope. Okay, Kyle, now you're going to go down to, let's say, south of that oak tree and turn around and come back. And Katie's going to follow you, trying to stay off to the left. At first, Eve may not understand that that's what her job is. So Katie will be using her seat, her legs, and her reins, and her voice to tell Eve what it is we want her to do with this weird-looking moving object. Now, Kyle is going fast enough that Eve feels that she should trot, and we just did a whole bunch of trotting around our manure bins and chicken pen, and she did well. She's kind of sweaty from that kind of exercise too, because it's a warm winter day. Now you're off to his right. You want to be to his left.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
At this point in our training session, we had some microphone problems. So I'm going to voice over and try to describe to you what it is we're trying to accomplish. At this point, Eve is rating quite well to the left. Kyle is going fast enough with the power of the electric bike and occasional pedaling to give Eve the incentive to pick up a trot. She looks like she's watching the moving object. and rating it. From time to time, I asked Kyle to stop so that Katie could practice asking Eve to stop and encouraging Eve to stop on her own when the moving object stops. And we take a few steps back in the stop so that Eve will be encouraged to learn to use her haunches when she stops. Eve is biting at the bit just a little bit, showing a little bit thus of body language stress, but nothing real serious, so we just did some repetition. Practice, practice, practice. Eve was doing so well, we decided to stop the camera and hook up the horns. Now we go down the driveway with the horns attached. There's more noise and clanking. We're letting Eve watch. She's not showing any stress at all, as you can see by her body language. At this point, Katie starts to follow the electric bike with the roping horns attached. We give Eve practice to rate this roping cow simulator for a few moments. She does very well. Then Sonia gets in the saddle and starts to throw some loops, explaining the concept of coils, loops, balance, desensitization. She throws a few loops, catching one horn the first time, 2 horns the second time. Then she briefly rates with Eve, tries an overhead over Eve's head loop in case Eve were to put her in the wrong position for roping. There's still a chance of catching your target. A 1-horn catch. Sonia shows the Honda that she's using and the Honda that she can use if she wants to break away from a moving object. A 2-horn catch. Then, with rope in hand, Sonia rates the roping machine and gives Eve an opportunity to follow it in the correct position with rein control, only using neck reining. Here, Sonia puts Eve in the wrong position so that Eve's head is in the way of the lariat. She is able, nevertheless, to get a 2-horn catch. Well, here's another session trying to prepare first Semi, and then we'll work with Eve and Sadie, for lightness, softness at the canter, and haunches work. So we're not using an arena. We're ranch versatile here. We're using a track that's sanded on my driveway around manure bins and a chicken pen. And right now there's some dogs in the chicken pen, so there's dogs barking here and there and everywhere, but that doesn't matter. We want Semi to feel and hear our request. She's doing a nice trot. And then we're trying to ask her to do small circles where we know the sand is deep enough to be safe for her legs. In spite of the fact that there's a couple barking dogs there in that chicken pen and a couple barking dogs behind me and to the right of me,
It's okay. She needs to focus on, yes, nice collection. We just have an O-ring snaffle on. And what does that have to do with urban cowgirl, weekend cutter and roper? These are all fundamentals to working a cow at various speeds. And so we're just taking a detour here and make sure we can work on speed control. Besides transitions, once we transition to another speed, we want to be able to control the speed. We're not using legs as much as possible. We're using posture, hands forward for step up or forward motion, sitting on your pockets for slow down and whoa commands. Now, can we get Semi to give us a nice soft, she lost the gait, a nice soft canter without breaking gait. We've got a long ways to go, but we have the tools, we have the place, we've created safe places to do it. Here she comes again. Katie's trying to get that neck arced slightly to the inside with the eyeball on the inside slightly to the inside. Ah, but she's biting at the bit. No, not what we want. This is almost baseline behavior documentation.
I think the dogs are scaring her.
Their dogs are scaring her. That's okay. She needs to concentrate, to focus on us. Try it again. Let's stop on a better note.
You want to do trot or canter?
A canter, if you feel it's safe.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, and then we're going to move to a different place on our property here at Shadrach Farms because we want to work on a nice energetic soft light back and roll back. That's better. She's looking better. Coming around here briefly. Okay, let's see if she can do a small circle without losing it. Almost got it all the way around, but she's reasonable, a little better than last time. We'll try it. We'll see maybe one more time. And I have to move out of the way here because she isn't staying on track. Whoops, a little bit slippery, but she picked it up. Okay, it did rain yesterday. We thought it was dry, but it's a little bit wet underneath. I feel that that's a good note of resolution. She did slow down. She did get light and soft. Okay, we're going to turn off the camera, and now we're going to go to an 8-foot corridor that's probably about 50 foot long. And when we get there, I'll explain why we're working Semi there. Well, here we are in the corridor, and we're going to ask Semi to back. And if she doesn't give us a nice, light, energetic back, I'm gonna go up to her with my body language, with my arm extension, which happens to be a manure fork. I'm gonna turn it around and have an arm extension. Doesn't matter as long as I can extend my reach. Let's see how she backs. Trying to use only your seat, and yet in and out we signal. Yeah, and I want her to stay collected, and she's stopping. Okay, I'm going to go and help.
Back. 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 Back.
Did it help?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, come on forward. All the flapping of my arms and so forth, I got that idea from Clinton Anderson, who was teaching Tricky, his racehorse, how to back. He said never before Tricky came to him had Tricky ever backed. He was sure of it. So racehorses don't back. And by the time he was finished with his 13th lesson with Tricky, Tricky was fully aware of what the back command meant. Semi's still a little nervous. Now, we're going to try to get get that vertical flexion while she backs. And then at the other end of this corridor. We don't have rubber mats, and it is a little bit slippery, but not too slippery. I'm going to ask Katie to do just a couple of rollbacks, not quickly, because in a small, narrow corridor like this, I think it's much easier to explain to your horse what a rollback is, and that it has to be 180 in either direction, because that really does transfer to cow work. And so does backing. Okay, so now I'm gonna focus a little bit closer here. I'm gonna use my flapping arms, my arm extension, my body language. I'm gonna help Katie tell Semi to back. Back.
Back.
Back. Back. Back. Back.
Back. Back. Back.
Okay. Well, we're going to get that back much smoother, much lighter.
Did we do a rollback or come back up there?
Yeah, no, now we're going to move down this corridor with the camera, and I'm going to ask you, within parameters of safety and comfort, about half backer and then about halfway down, roller around her haunches.
Okay.
In other words, it's going to be a 180-degree rollback.
Back. 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 Back.
Yeah, she's bottle topping. We need to get that haunches to stay still and the front end to go over. That's it. Better, go. Okay, but only 180.
Okay.
The idea is 180, go about halfway down the corridor, do 180, and if she's good, take a step or two back and do 180 back to the direction you started. Whoops, yeah, that hip came out. You want to keep it on the fence, good. We wanted the rollback on the consistent fence. In other words, you are on the south side on your first rollback. Use the south side on your second rollback. Back, 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 good, good, good. And try to keep that hip over there, okay, and then come back around. Yes, and she did touch the fence a little bit, but that made her realize that, wait a minute, I need to just swing over my haunches. Now, one of the things that we do with Eve and Sadie is pairs driving. And when especially when they're backing in pairs, their hips come out, which is totally expected. They need to understand when they back, they need to back straight. So we're going to be doing this kind of exercise individually with Eve and Sadie. And then if we have a large enough team, we're going to do it in pairs, with or without drive lines. So we tried it with Semi today. We just wanted to see where she was at. We'll hope that we'll have some drier ground. We'll find some other corridors already existing here to work with. And then out in the wide open pastures where we do our harness work, we could actually, once we have confidence that Eve and Sadie understand that when they go forward and when they go backward in pairs, that they're to keep their hips parallel, well, we'll put some ropes down and make long corridors. And even though it won't be a fence, it'll be a visual guide to them that this is the area in which they can go forward and backward. Okay, let's have you do it again.
Back. Back.
Can you keep that hip from coming over? It tends to swing over to the north fence. Yeah, and she's swishing her tail. She doesn't quite understand. And she's biting at her bit. Okay, we'll make her understand what the right answer is by removing the pressure when she gives it to us. See, it doesn't have to be fast. Whoops. Doesn't have to be fast back or fast forward, but we do want quality straightness. and 180. Oh, okay, okay. She almost stepped out and you got her back. How'd you get her back?
I put my foot back a little.
Okay, foot signal with a spur, just a tickle. Okay, again, I'd like to keep her head from flying up. Good, good. I saw her react to your little tickle. She knows now that you have them on. Much better. Okay, let's have you come out of the corridor and we'll go to the arena because we want to do a little bit of work there in the sanded arena. And that's all for today. Coming around the corner on our outside track is Sadie, my youngest. We're trying to get her to do nice, smooth transitions, powered from the haunches, from walk to trot to canter. We're now in the canter. Katie's being really careful to sit in the saddle on her pockets. We don't want Sadie falling on her front end. When Katie feels ready, she's going to try to make a small circle right here to the right of the camera. Right now we're going clockwise. We'll try it again in counterclockwise. When you're ready. Yeah, Semi did the same thing. She lost the gate about halfway through the circle. Here she comes counterclockwise. She's turning her head the wrong way. Yep. Did you feel that?
Yeah.
Don't even try to go in a left circle when her head's turned to the right.
Yeah.
Well, let's not stop on that note. Go back around.
Back.
If you don't get the arc correctly, go down to a trot.
Okay.
So we're down to a nice trot. That's a very nice trot. Let's see if we can get a small circle at a trot. Then we're going to go to another corridor and work on a few rollbacks and backups. She's very nice trot. Try to go off the circle and make a small circle. Okay, a little bit of left eyeball. You want to see left eyeball? Good. Much better. Much better. We'll meet you over at the corridor. Do you want to say anything?
Her trot is very good. I'm impressed with it. She has a little problem picking her head up, but I think this was practice. Her canter will be good
Absolutely.
too.
I was just watching a roping program and Tyler Magnus was saying this horse is worth a lot of practice because I can see the willingness. It's just that the horse was charging.
Yeah.
And then sometimes he'd get a slow cow and he needed the horse to rate the slow cow and he needed to keep the focus. So
even in the canter, she's not as powerful as I would have expected her to be.
okay.
She's
All
better
right,
than I thought.
but remember, we're going to work with Eve next.
Yeah.
That's where we expect that. Powerhouse.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to turn the camera back on at the East HVD Southeast Corridor, which is a nice straight path, about 8 foot wide, and it's got a real good footing, better footing than the corridor we used here with Semi the other day. We'll see you there. Here we are in a corridor across the street. We have a pasture here for my horses. And we have this sanded corridor that is free of bumps and weeds and so forth. And so we brought Sadie here. We're asking her to give us a straight back with her hips and shoulders in line. And after we stop the back, we don't want the hips or shoulders to go offline. And I'm going to help here with a little bit of body language to get some energetic backing. Katie?
Back. Back.
That hip is off a little bit to the right.
Back.
Just body language mostly. I'm not touching her. Just doing some visual cues. Can you do a slow roll back? And then I'm going to go on the other side. Use this fence. Use the south
Going
fence.
Towards that fence?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Slow roll back. Sadie's kind of new at this. She's doing okay. Yeah, she stepped it over her front legs. Good. Very nice. Now I'm going to position myself again to help raise that energy level of the back and give Katie, could you feel the hip coming over? Okay. We need straightness. We need to make sure the horse doesn't fall on their front end in the process of us asking them to move forward or backward. Katie's going to keep her center of balance in the center of the saddle and sit deep on her pockets to help the horse power from the haunches. Okay, I'm going to leave it up to you and just help if it's necessary.
Back, 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 back.
Good. Not bad. Try a roll back right there on this north fence. Now, you're going to make some cues to her to make her understand what you're asking for. Look. Yes, look is good. 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 Okay, stand there. Good. She swished her tail a little bit, probably due to a little bit of stress. I'm coming by. Hello, Sadie. I'm going to do less and less if I see the energy coming from Sadie and Katie.
Back, 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 back.
Good. Good. A roll back. Looking over. Okay, now that hip, we got to keep that hip from swinging out to your left. Let me get back in position. And then I want to discuss something in front of the camera, an issue that we need to deal with. Okay?
Back, 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 back.
Good. Very nice. Now, just pet her. She's a little bit nervous, biting at the bit. It's okay. If we just do a lot of repetition, she'll understand the exercise. She'll know what is the right answer. Now, Katie, I want your opinion because it is my intention to bring both Eve and Sadie, Eve is Sadie's mom, into this corridor with their harnesses on, halters on, and the jockey stick on the front, and the butt rope around the hips, and ask them to go forward and backward here in this corridor. Do you feel that at their present state of responsiveness to harness work and pairs driving, that it would be dangerous to do it in this corridor?
I wouldn't want to be in the corner with them.
Okay. All right. So you
just
feel...
because Eve tends to veer off so much.
Yes. All right. Well, you see, next time we work on this kind of exercise, it's going to be with Eve. And we're going to keep doing it with them individually. And then maybe without the harness, just with halters.
Yeah.
We'll walk them up and down. Maybe we'll try to have some extra team members here to help them understand that the hips stay together. But if they were behaving and they were lined up as a pair, like Doc Hamill's pairs are, would you feel that this corridor is wide enough? It's 8 foot wide.
Yeah, there's no reason they shouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, we're just not there yet. We'll show you when we get there, and we'll show you every step of the way.
See more at www.urbancowgirlchannel.com.